Yu is a common and scrawny young man who enrolls in a school full of talented students. When he moves in to live with the 3 most skilled girls in the academy, he has no choice but to give his all to stand out. The story begins at Psycho Academy, a place where gifted students develop their special talents. Our protagonist, Yu, has just transferred to this elite institution, but already on the first day ends up getting beaten by the vice captain of the martial arts club, while everyone watches the scene. The vice captain scolds Yu for being a pathetic failure, and everyone despises him for not being able to follow in his mother's footsteps. Subaru, a first-rate actress who represents absolute perfection. The vice president tells Yu that he needs to demonstrate his talent to the 3 royalties, who are the 3 best students in the academy. Taken by rage, Yu asks him to stop comparing him to his mother. He lunges at the vice president, but the anime gods forgot to give him protagonist armor, and he only manages to throw weak punches before being thrown to the ground. Everyone watches with disgust at how the son of the great Subaru is truly pathetic, but Yu reflects on how he's used to being treated as a failure compared to his mother. Suddenly, he makes a convincing speech for the vice president to stop being obsessed with talent, and the guy even wavers for a moment, realizing that Yu has his mother's divine charm. Yu simply gives up and walks away, not caring about the defeat, but the vice president knows how fatal it is if Yu has no real talent, so he grabs him with the intention of beating him until he achieves greatness. But at that moment, the vice president gets kicked by the president of the martial arts club and one of the 3 royalties, Nico, who is the best martial artist in the academy. The next moment, surprising everyone with their presence, the other 2 royalties appear. Miwa, the best student in the advanced program and chess prodigy, and Kazuki, the brightest star in the art department and the best theatrical actress. Yu trembles with fear, questioning why the 3 royalties are there. Kazuki approaches him, and when she discovers he's a complete failure with no talent, she brutally informs Yu that he has no place in the school, which is full of talented people. To their confusion, he shows his accepted application to enroll in the school's general education. But the girls have no idea what that means, since they're used to studying at the top, not in general. After seeing their hostile reaction, Yu tries to leave for his general class, but Nico stops him and orders him to clean the dojo. Yu tries to reject her order, saying he's nobody's slave, but Nico tells this failure that losers have to clean the dojo, and Yu somewhat reluctantly follows her orders. Later, when the martial arts team enters the dojo, they're shocked at how clean the dojo is after Yu cleaned it. Meanwhile, Yu is on his way to his new home and reflects on how, from what he remembers, he always wanted to be praised like his talented mother. Initially, he tried to train his acting skills and was confident when he reached the Rock's acting levels. But when he saw firsthand how his mother acted like Denzel, he realized then that, compared to her, he was a talentless failure. However, he continued trying in different areas to show his talents, but every time he failed, he distanced himself more from his own mother. Then Subaru became gravely ill, and Yu realized how distant he had become from her, who was the only family he had. In the hospital, she began rewatching one of her film series, where she played a mother in a happy family repeatedly. Yu said how he liked that show, and his mother said she loved it too. She asked what he loved about the series, and when he expressed his love for the scenes where the family dined together, Subaru said she loved those scenes the most too. It was then that Yu realized that, despite all the talent she had, what she really wanted was to have a family like the one in that series. But before Yu could fulfill her greatest wish, she died and left Yu a note, wishing that he would have his own happy family. Although he doesn't know how to achieve this, Yu intends to obtain it and make up for everything he and his mother lost. He arrives at the house where he'll stay, and to his joy, it's a huge and beautiful mansion. Suddenly, Nico appears, attacking him using only towels, calling him a pervert and thief. Yu quickly says he's not a thief, and Nico demands an explanation from him. Suddenly, she slips and ends up on the floor in a compromising position. So, instead of helping her, Yu teases her using his presence, and when she tries to hit him, he throws a towel on her head and starts drying her. When she tries to retaliate, he convinces her to calm down, and she lets him dry her hair. Suddenly, the other 2 appear after their long day and surround Yu, demanding an explanation. But Yu himself is confused about why the 3 royalties are also there. At that moment, Yu's phone rings, and the homeowner informs him that he'll start living there as a favor he owes to his late mother, and that he has 3 daughters living there. He hopes Yu gets along well with them, and that his talent can flourish, so that his mother's legacy of greatness continues to live on. Yu realizes that the dream of having his own happy family died, since the sisters don't welcome his presence at home. They can't believe their father welcomed an abandoned loser and refused to take care of him. But Yu is still convinced there's hope that they can be a happy family together, and tries to win them over. He suddenly notices something on the floor, but Kazuki quickly picks it up before him. At that moment, he looks around and realizes the house is a complete mess. He then sees that the sink is full of dirty dishes, and the girls blame Kazuki for not doing her chores. But she apologizes, saying she was too busy rehearsing theater. But Yu finds some broken dishes hidden, and they realize that Kazuki tried to wash dishes, but was so horrible that she broke everything, and Kazuki gets embarrassed. Then Yu brings the dirty laundry, and they reveal that Miwa was responsible for that, and she also fails at doing her chores. Out of frustration, Miwa tells Yu to take over their chores, but Yu has no problems with that. He then points out that Nico is responsible for cleaning the house, which she failed at, but she's had enough of him mocking them for not being able to do household chores. The three royalties start barking back at him, pointing out his failures at school, but while they're talking nonsense, Yu keeps busy, and to their surprise, he manages to clean everything while they were mocking him. Nico remembers how it was he who cleaned the dojo, and Yu uses his pretty face to charm them, and they all quickly regroup to avoid his charms. The next morning, Yu is excited to have a day off, but suddenly, the house starts shaking, and he realizes that Nico is in the middle of her intense training in her dojo so early in the morning. He then finds Miwa already training to play shogi against an AI in deep frustration, and finds Kazuki in the kitchen preparing a suspicious green juice as if she were Walter White. He asks Kazuki what they're all doing, and she informs him they're doing their morning routine, stating that just like he brushes his teeth in the morning, they all do their own routines. She then tells Yu that they'll all be going out and asks Yu to take care of the house. Wanting to build a happy family, Yu asks them to have breakfast together, and Kazuki coldly dismisses him, saying she wants to go to rehearsal. Yu then tries to call Miwa for breakfast, but to his surprise, she's already snacking on unhealthy foods while practicing shogi. However, when he tries to stop her, he can feel the immense aura coming from her and realizes they remind him of his mother. He remembers how his mother always dismissed him whenever he invited her for breakfast and instead had her own pre-cooked diet food in the fridge. Suddenly, Nico appears from training and drools over the food, but when Yu offers some, she rejects it, and despite him teasing her, she says the food he's eating isn't balanced enough for her. It confuses him why someone cares so much about breakfast, but she says that to be the best, she has to fuel herself with the best nutrition. He now sees how differently from normal people like him, prodigies like his mother or the sisters are so driven that they do everything to improve their talents, like Miwa eating sugary foods to fuel her brain. At that moment, the sisters all rush outside to start their day, but Yu quickly stops them. He says they forgot something, and all three rummage through their belongings in panic. They all scream at him when they find nothing missing, but Yu says they're wrong, and lovingly gives them all a warm farewell, saying they forgot that. It shocks them all to hear this, and although they all call it a stupid thing to do, as they all walk away, they're all blushing from ear to ear, since they never had someone send them off so warmly to start the day. Then, Yu gets a call from their father to check how he's doing. He then asks Yu for a favor to be his daughter's helping hand, since he believes his daughters, although they are prodigies, will encounter obstacles, and by helping them overcome these obstacles, they'll open up to him. The father says Kazuki has a difficult audition, Nico has her martial arts tournament, and Miwa has her shogi events, which gives him an opening to help them. But Yu has no idea how he, a useless and talentless failure, could be of assistance to prodigies like these three. However, when he starts imagining the girls failing at what they do best, he can't help but remember how painful it was for him when he failed and became his mother's disappointment. So he decides to do what he can and starts planning to get to know them better by eating meals together with them. Later, after martial arts practice, Nico goes home with Yu cooking and screams loudly, forgetting they're living together. When she sees Yu tasting his food, she melts at how attractive he is. Yu then offers Nico to taste his cooking, and although she was tempted at first, she pulls her composure and rejects his offer, saying she refuses to be tamed by his cooking. She leaves him to take a relaxing bath, and when she returns to the kitchen, she's surprised to see Yu cooking even more intensely with all the different cookbooks in front of him. At that moment, Miwa appears in the kitchen, and Yu declares to them that he'll cook the best meals for them, but the girls simply dismiss him. This reminds Nico of how she and her sisters always rejected all the cooking from their housekeepers. She deeply believed she had to control what she consumed to always be in the best possible shape. But in the middle of eating her dry chicken breast, Nico gets curious and peeks at what Yu cooked for them. She instantly drools at the sight of the gourmet meal presented to her, and Yu appears from behind. He obsessively informs her how the food has all the nutrients she needs to stay in top shape, and after his insistence, Nico agrees to eat it. Yu faints from fatigue and tells Nico he cooked food recommended by nutritionists specifically for her, and this makes Nico blush knowing he did all this just for her. When she finally tries it, she praises Yu for his cooking, and he imagines it as if he were taming a stray cat using a bottle of milk. Meanwhile, Miwa is secretly drooling while spying on them, and when she comes downstairs, Yu also bothers her with information about how the food he cooked has the perfect acids to boost her brain power. Miwa agrees to eat them, and Nico realizes that Yu also cooked specifically with Miwa's interest in mind. While they're eating, the sisters start talking about how long it's been since they ate together, and Yu smiles at their interaction. At that moment, Kazuki appears, confused seeing her sisters eating together. Just like before, Yu talks to her about how his cooking would be beneficial for her and her talent, giving her her clear skin for theater, but to his surprise, Kazuki coldly rejects his offer. Nico tries to support him against Kazuki, but Kazuki says dining together isn't for her, and Yu sees this as a cat refusing to be fed. This leaves him hurt and heartbroken, and Nico feels bad for him, knowing how hard he worked for the food, so she takes the food from his hand and eats it herself. However, Yu suddenly talks about how Kazuki's meal will make her gain weight due to the high amount of carbohydrates, which irritates Nico, who's trying to be kind. But then, Yu sweetly assures her he'll help monitor her food, and Nico turns redder than a tomato. 3 days later, Yu starts school, still wondering how to reach Kazuki and fulfill his father's wish for him to help his daughters. He decides the best way is to confront her directly, so he goes to her while she's in the middle of being flattered by her fans. They all recognize Yu as the talentless failure, and Kazuki joins in mocking him. Suddenly, Yu starts begging Kazuki to stop denying his advances and instead accept his special gift, one he knows will make her very happy. But while Yu is referring to food, the others think Yu is flirting with Kazuki. They demand Kazuki explain why she's getting involved with a loser, and Yu flees, seeing the chaos. He approaches Nico for help in getting close to Kazuki, but when he calls her, all she can remember is how nervous he makes her. Her friends confront Yu for acting friendly with Nico, but Nico herself appears with a devastating aura, scaring them all away, and Yu flees to his last resort, Miwa. Meanwhile, Miwa is in class, busy playing shogi on her phone. When she hears others having trouble with a math question, she easily answers it for them, but instead of being impressed, they feel intimidated by Miwa's intelligence. When Yu arrives, he realizes how, unlike her other sisters and like at home, Miwa is extremely quiet at school. Yu tries to talk to her and gets her to have lunch with him, but Miwa refuses and walks away from him. However, Yu refuses to give up and starts chasing her, which results in a wild chase across campus, all because he wants to have lunch with her. It ends with both exhausted and out of energy, but Yu realizes that Miwa is as athletically poor as he is. He points out how Miwa is quiet in class, and she admits how, being one of the 3 royalties, she struggles to connect with others and talk about girl things. Yu expresses how he can relate as a fellow royal like her, which irritates Miwa, and he says he's a royal failure who fails at practically everything. At that moment, Miwa laughs at his silliness, calling him an idiot. After calming down, they have lunch and Miwa informs Yu that to get close to Kazuki, he has to find out her favorite food. Miwa remembers how when they were little, Kazuki asked their mother for something special to eat, and Yu realizes he has to find Kazuki's favorite food, which is her mother's cooking. Later, at home, Yu tries to cook something special when Kazuki enters and faints in front of Yu. Then, they discover she has a severe fever, and while the others try to take care of her, she kicks them all out of the room, refusing their help. Yu refuses to give up and plans to send more food to her, but Kazuki refuses to try them and calls them all disgusting, which frustrates Yu. He invades her room to give her his cooking, and when she tries to kick him out, she feels extremely weak and falls on top of him. Yu says she'll miss her rehearsals if this continues, and suggests he become her acting partner until she gets better. He boasts as the son of the great actress Subaru, who started acting from a young age, and Kazuki realizes she might be in the presence of greatness itself. But when Yu actually starts reading her dialogue, he sounds like a dying cow and is kicked out for being useless. However, he refuses to give up trying and comes back day after day after day to be her acting partner, but is always kicked out in the end. It frustrates Kazuki how, unlike her, who is always flawless and reliable, Yu is someone so pathetic and unreliable. Then, one night, she comes downstairs and finds Yu watching all her performances on television while practicing her lines to be able to improve. Kazuki feels touched by his effort, and even though Yu continues to be a terrible actor, she recognizes his hard work. The next day, Yu is back in her room trying to be her acting partner, but after what Kazuki saw the night before, she doesn't kick him out and joins him in acting. This touches Yu, and to both their surprise, Yu manages to deliver a line of dialogue brilliantly. He starts crying to his mother, feeling emotional about how he can act well after more than 10 years of trying, and Kazuki can't help but feel envious of how passionate Yu is about his own struggles. Kazuki admits her defeat and agrees to eat his cooking so she can get healthier. Yu celebrates and promises to cook a masterpiece for her, but Kazuki asks him to stop and says she has a request. Before saying anything, Kazuki shrinks into her bed, feeling embarrassed about what she's about to say. After gathering enough courage, she tells Yu she doesn't like eating carrots, mushrooms, bell peppers, and many more, and Yu realizes that all this time, Kazuki was just a picky eater. The next morning, Miwa and Nico are in total shock to see Kazuki joining them for dinner after her rejections from last week. Yu praises her for finishing her food, and Kazuki is happy to eat them as long as they don't have carrots. But to her surprise, Yu whispers in her ear, saying he mixed in the carrots, making her start to freak out. This makes Yu extremely happy for finally managing to tame all 3 kittens through his cooking. But suddenly, they all tell him not to cook dinner for them. When asked why, they explain that they'll all eat out since they all have their own practices and activities. When they leave, leave, this reminds Yu of how his mother used to do the same, not eating at home for a month, which caused tension in their relationship. He realizes even more that, just like his mother, the three sisters are both gifted and obsessed, while he's just a talentless failure who's terrible at everything. He remembers how their father asked him to be his daughter's helping hand, and how Yu's mother wished he would achieve a happy family. But he quickly realizes he doesn't know what makes a happy family. So he puts on his mother's TV series where she played a loving mother in a happy family, and can't help but smile seeing the warmth in front of him. Then, the family on TV is preparing their wedding ceremony to show the children, but this makes Yu feel conflicted seeing his own mother in a wedding dress. At that moment, the three sisters return home after their day of activities, and when Kazuki sees Yu in tears and what he's watching on television, she assumes he's really missing his mother. So she approaches Yu with kindness and says he doesn't need to force himself to do household chores just to win them over. The other sisters agree and remind him that he's just a parasite, but this offends Yu. He gets up and says he refuses to be a parasite like with his mother. He always thought that with the talent difference between them, he and his own mother could never connect. But then he realized they're quite similar to each other in many ways, but before they could rebuild their relationship, Subaru died, and Yu doesn't want that to happen between him and the sisters. He declares he wants to make a happy family with the sisters, and they're all shocked to hear this. Nico finds his idea absurd and asks what his plan is to make a happy family with them. At that moment, on television, it shows a wedding scene between Subaru and her TV husband, and the girls quickly realize that Yu can achieve a happy family by marrying them. The girls start fantasizing about themselves in wedding dresses, but this irritates all the girls, and they tell Yu he'll never win them over as a loving husband. Later, in the bath, Nico thinks about Yu and how he's so strong that he can maintain his self-control living with three hot girls. Suddenly, he screams, and when Nico checks, she discovers he's crying over something trivial and scolds him for ruining her bath time. He scolds her back for using only her towel, not wanting her to get cold, but she gets nervous and runs back to the bathroom. Suddenly, she bumps into Miwa, and she notices how Nico's face is red, which is strange for her, and while Nico tries to hide the truth, Miwa suspects it involves Yu. At that moment, Yu hands Miwa her washed clothes, but when Miwa reaches out, their hands touch, and Miwa gets startled, making the clothes fall. Nico points out how Miwa is blushing and asks if she's in love with Yu, but she rejects this accusation, and this starts an argument between them, both refusing that they have feelings for Yu. At that moment, Kazuki appears and mocks the sisters for fighting over some pathetic loser like Yu. Then, being short, Yu asks Kazuki to help him put a pot on the top shelf, and she happily helps him. After doing this, Yu thanks her with a smile on his face, and although Kazuki acts coldly, she blushes a lot, and the other sisters notice. This starts another argument between all three, but Yu interferes, scolding them for fighting, not knowing the reason for the fight, and this irritates all three. When the sisters leave, Yu notices the whole place is dirty again, which irritates him, but when he thinks about how they ate at the same table, he gets happy and proud of how far he's come. Suddenly, to his surprise, he stumbles upon a photo of the girls from years ago, and can't believe how cute and precious they look. He then quickly realizes that one of the sisters owns it, but when he asks, none of them admits the photo is theirs. However, he realizes the real owner of the photo is lying, refusing to admit she wants her sisters to go back to what they were before, and has the same goal as him of wanting a happy family. The next day, before he can find out, the sisters inform him before school that they'll all be going out for competitions over the weekend, leaving Yu without answers. However, when he checks the locations where the girls are going, he has an idea to do something to bring them closer. That night, Yu makes warm milk for the girls before bed, and informs them he booked hotel rooms for them over the weekend. Miwa protests about how she hates hotel food, and Yu teases her, joking that she'll miss his cooking, and although she gets nervous, the others deep down admit they'll miss it. The next day, the girls leave for their events, and Miwa participates in a shogi tournament where she massacres her opponent, proving her superiority as a genius. Afterwards, on the way to the hotel, she passes by a cherry blossom festival, which reminds her of when she went with her sisters. Then, when she arrives at the hotel, to her shock, Kazuki is also there. They all realize that they went to the same city due to their commitments, and at that moment, Yuo appears, demonstrating his frustration at the fact that the sisters don't know where each one had gone. Then, Yui reveals that they'll stay in the same room, and when they question why, he explains that it's a perfect opportunity to get closer during their free time, like true sisters, sharing the same environment. Then, he proclaims himself as their festival organizer and suggests that they all visit the Cherry Blossom Festival like in the old days. Instead of being happy, the girls criticize him for making such a thoughtless decision on the eve of their important events, and he tries to win them over by suggesting a visit to a shrine that grants luck. Initially, Nico scoffs at the idea, stating that true champions don't depend on luck, but when Yuo shows how legends like Messi, LeBron, Eminem, and Johnny Sins visit the shrine to achieve excellence, the girls change their minds. He then displays photos of the festival foods, and the sisters agree they look much more appetizing than than hotel food. At that moment, Kazuki is the first to agree to go to the festival, but demands that all the sisters wear something with more style if they want to accompany her. So, Yuo takes them to a kimono rental shop, and the owner is shocked to see the famous McDonough sisters in her store. She quickly gets to work and dresses the sisters in the best kimonos available, transforming them into true Japanese beauties. However, Yuo notices that Nico is on the sidelines, refusing to wear a kimono. He tries to convince her to choose one among the hundreds of beautiful kimonos, but she refuses. Then, the owner brings a blue kimono, saying it will enhance her more masculine style, but this makes Nico remember how, in the past, she wanted to wear feminine clothes, but was forced to maintain a more masculine appearance. Suddenly, Yuo chooses a pink and delicate kimono for Nico, and while the sisters and the owner think a feminine look doesn't suit her, Yuo vehemently disagrees, saying she'll look beautiful in it, which leaves Nico completely disconcerted. Nico then agrees to try it on, and when she finally presents her look, everyone is amazed by her beauty, displaying a look for which any man in the world would go to war. Thank you for watching today's video. If you liked this summary, subscribe to the channel and comment on what you thought of this work.